morning, good afternoon, depending on where you're tuning in from, and thank you all for joining. My name is Orla Dormer, if you don't know me, and I coordinate the TrustWorks community of over 400 members at the moment, where we have a Slack space where we share best practices, ideas, experience, etc. We also have roundtable discussions on a monthly basis where you can actively participate. And we also offer a mentorship program and a peer engagement program where you can participate as a mentor, a mentee, or simply as a peer to network and engage with other privacy professionals. So if you'd like to join, you should see the link in our comments. So today I am joined by Yolanda Castilla, Group DPO and Compliance with B2 Impact, to discuss how we can leverage our existing knowledge and experience in privacy to address AI governance. Welcome, Yolanda.
Hi, Orla. Hi, everyone. Thank you very much for joining and also for creating this great space to share.
No, thank you for taking the time to share your wisdom and your experience.
We will try. We will see.
So I have to say, this was a very interesting discussion we had last week, and there was definitely a lot of interest in this topic. I think it's definitely very common occurrence, let's say, where we are seeing more and more data protection professionals assuming the responsibility for AI governance, or definitely being involved in the team, but in many cases leading the team. So what do you feel is the biggest challenge that is being faced when taking on this role?
Yes, Orla, I think that this shift is becoming very, very natural in many companies, and definitely DPOs or privacy team is handling somehow AI governance almost by default. And when it comes to challenges, it really depends. It can be skills, it can be vendor risks, shadow AI usage, meaning using Gen AI tools not approved by the company or without any license, or even data quality, right? And in many cases, why not? It's a mix of all of them. But honestly, the challenges can look really different depending on the company business and how mature they are when it comes to handling data. This is something that we need to take into consideration. For instance, a finance company is usually working with strict data rules already. They are used to audits, they are used to regulation, risk reviews, etc., etc. So when this AI shows up, they already have some structure to build from, so they are not starting from zero. But manufacturing company, for instance, it might be a different history. They might just starting to digitalize processes with large amounts of data. And in this case, the AR journey, it's going to be a more foundational. And that is why it's so important to understand the context we are working, our business processes, what we are doing, because what works in one company might not work in another, just like that. So it's a little bit coming to the basics, a little.
But I suppose that's the running joke, isn't it? When you're asked a question in privacy, the first response is, well, it depends. There is no one answer for everyone.
It's always a response.
Yeah. So we talked about then AI governance being like an extension of privacy. So like, where should the DPO start? Like, where do you see, talk us through the overlap a bit, where they can leverage what they already know, what they're already doing, and take it with them into this new era.
Yes, this is a very good one. When this AI governance gifts lands our inbox, it is totally normal to panic a little. We see big regulatory expectations, fancy terms like these foundational models. And actually, it's easy to start thinking from our perspective of privacy people, DPOs, I'm not ready, I'm not technical enough, I'm not the right person to do this, oh my God. But there are good news. So don't be pessimistic at all. If the thing is that if we already have a strong framework in place, we don't need to start from scratch. I mean, we already have a lot of privacy tools, like our register of processing activities, our data protection impact assessments, vendors' due diligence, We have our process to provide information to data subject rights, to be transparent, and to comply with all these data principles that at the end are the basis of everything, and they are very connected to AI Act principles. So with all this toolkit that we already have, we could, for example, convert our register of processing activities into the AI system inventory. I mean, it's not like copy-paste, of course, but it's something where we can start from. Our data protection impact assessments can be extended to include model risks. So there is the way that we start assessing the artificial intelligence risks. And all this vendor due diligence can be updated with AI-specific questions. So we are tracking more or less what our vendors are incorporated in their systems. And there is really something very important that we should not forget, so that we don't lose hope in the middle of all of this. And this is something like, as data protection officers and privacy professional, we are actually in very strong position. I will explain you why. Because we already have a cross-functional view of the organization. We have mapped the data, we have built the registers, we have run the assessments, we have been supporting the business in the deployment of different processes because we have been already part of that. So this is the knowledge and this is the experience that we already have, and it can be very useful when it comes to implementing AI. So when this is coming, it's like we are not walking blind, so to say. We already have a framework that brings some clarity into all this unknown thing.
Okay, and I think, yeah, but I remember rightly the other day as well in the conversation, some of the other members of the panel also talked about, like, when you're training, for example, it's not about creating a whole new training program for AI, but it's like embedded into the existing training that you're already building for privacy.
Yes, there are many other examples that we could use, Orla, because we already have our privacy trainings, GDPR compliance trainings. And we also have, as you know, this AI literacy obligation for all the companies, which means that we need to train people depending on their knowledge, depending on their role, and so on. So this is something that we can use, that when we are creating our refreshers on the privacy trainings, GDPR, compliance, wherever, we can start including things regarding AI, just providing information. What is AI? What are AI systems? What is generative AI? All these well-known solutions that we are using every day. What are their limits? What are their risks? Something really important, what are the tools that have been, these Gen AI tools, approved by the company? And what is the content that we could put there? Yeah. Right? Because it's not everything you can put there, meaning that if you have your own Gen AI tool, you can be more freely, of course, but if you are using third party, there are some limitations. And again, depending on your context and depending on the data that you are processing, you will have more or less. It's not the same, the company processing sensitive data like health data or so on. That's another company that is not processing any sensitive data nor financial data, so that there is more freedom to use these Gen AI tools or AI solutions. That would be the example of literacy and training. We also could go through all these data subject rights procedures and so on, or implementation on the information notice to go through explainability about transparency on the model. So this is another example. We could already use our information notices, our privacy notices for data subjects, to include the information about AI tools that we are using, which are affecting them, obviously. Yeah. This is also the thing. And when we are, another example coming to my mind is when we are going through principles like lawful basis, purpose limitation, very embedded into privacy, we can use them for cataloging and justify as well our AI models. So there are a lot of topics within this AI Act that have their, let's say, reflection on the GDPR. It is the same with incident management, data breach management, or information security breaches, because most companies have decided to merge both information security incidents with data breaches management, because at the end, almost all data breaches come from information security, at least 90% in nowadays world. So here it is also how to report the AI breach. So we can utilize different current processes that we already have, and it's the matter of adjusting, of course, and including these AI references and requirements.
And assessments as well, I assume. I'm sure I think we all agree, everyone in the business loves to receive assessments.
Assessments, of course. It's like we were discussing the other day about the data protection impact assessments.
Yeah.
And we could start including these specific requirements on AI assessments just to evaluate the risk of the solution.
Exactly.
So just by default, we could update our DPAI template, including these specific topics on AI. So we have the broader view on this.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's the important thing. It's like, we're not starting all over again. Let's use what we've got, and for our own sakes and for the business, because if we start sending, double the assessments and doing double the training and stuff, I mean, I think it's just, it's not the wisest decision across the board.
And it's also, Orla, just sorry to interrupt you, but it's also that with all these different regulation that it's affecting not all the business, but with, for example, DORA, Digital Operational Resilience Act, this is also, it's converging as well with other, let's say, compliance and GDPR processes like vendors due diligence. If you already have if you are under DORA requirements and GDPR and any other compliance requirements you have, you already use your current process, your template, your solution, and you add the specific requirements on DORA, on AI, and so on. So you are covering NIS2, you are covering the different data compliance regulations.
Exactly, 100%. So then let's flip it on the other side. What limitations do you see that could potentially exist, if any?
Yes, of course, there are. The path can be that easy, right? We have just discussed a minute before about the data protection impact assessment and how we could, let's say, add different questions, different parts into this assessment so that we are covering AI. But the thing is that when we are doing this data protection impact assessment is when we are processing personal data, and maybe there is some deployment on the AI solution. Like, for instance, the example we were providing the other day, we are creating with GenAI this chatbot to be used by the employees, including all this information about the labor bargaining agreement, the employees' law, and so on, so they know they leave periods, etc., etc. So apparently there is no personal data there, only regulation. But when it comes, let's say, functioning, and if it's become at some point is hallucinating, you might find that at the end, employees, data subjects are affected, right? Because of this AI solution. But you didn't foresee that in your DPAI because apparently there was no personal data into that GenAI solution or that chatbot or whatever you are calling. So again, there are limitations. It is not easy. And they are not just legal or technical. They are one of the one big one I keep saying is what we are calling like the illusion of compliance, right? It was that something we mentioned the other day. Like I was reading a post on LinkedIn that say that companies are treating AI governance like GDPR 2.0. Hiring consultants, the law firm or something like that, writing many policies, and just ticking the box. And guys, we know this is not like that. AI doesn't stop moving. We see every week how many versions of all these solutions or any new solutions. So this is something we know, and models change. Vendors update features, and we don't know, by the way, but risks change constantly. So yes, it's true. Privacy is a great foundation, but of course, it is not enough, unfortunately. It is not enough because of, let's say, all the different aspects you need to combine, meaning legal knowledge, compliance knowledge, IT knowledge, data engineer knowledge, because someone should know how models work. And maybe this is not the lawyer knowledge, right? And there is then this how we approach to this AI, like the pile of papers. And, in my opinion, that is a failure, because it will not be the live thing. It will be at the end nothing. It will paperwork. So it's mostly to let's say, think that we need to go from just compliance as this pile of papers to actual capability being part of the business. Understanding how these systems really works. Just looking at this from different angles. And it's not enough with our angle from data privacy perspective or only IT. We need other people involved. Actually, we need many people involved, and to understand how these systems will affect, and also very important, how these systems will work within our organization when they are changing over the time. Because something which is true, 100% true, is that this is the most rapid technology that we have ever seen.
Yeah. I think from when you said at the start that so many privacy people, let's say, are concerned that, they're focusing more on what they potentially don't know, because, AI is a bit frightening sometimes if it's not your area of expertise. But I think that's the important thing that you just said. It's not about thinking, I'm not sure I've got the skills. It's realizing none of us probably have the skills to do it alone. We do need collaboration. Like we always say, for privacy, collaboration is key. But I think even more so for AI governance, because there's so many more aspects to it that one person is not going to dominate all of it. So I think it's very important to realize that we do need to have a team. We do need to get collaboration from other areas of the business. So other than, pulling the resources from other areas of the business, is there anything else you can think of that would help to overcome any of the potential gaps that might be there?
Yes. And I will reinforce that idea of that this is not a solo job. Again, this is multidisciplinary thing. It needs cross-functional collaboration from legal, compliance, data analytics, IT, business, operations. Just remember that different people bring different knowledge, and this is essential, because this technology is not only affecting some part of the business. It's not that way how it works. No. This technology will affect to employees' relationship. It will affect to your operations. It will affect to your cybersecurity. It will affect to your P&L, to your finance team, how they are doing accounts. So it's like we need all of them. So this is not a solo job. And it's true that we also need to make this exercise to look into our gaps, meaning as the team, because again, this AI governance needs to be addressed commonly by all these people, right? Like the team, like the company, because it's the company project actually. So it's like you are identifying these different gaps. If you need more legal advice, or if you need more technical advice, because maybe you are the manufacturing company or something like that. So this is something that you need to go through that analysis and to bring that in. So, and please, again, don't think that this is only IT or DPO thing or legal thing, because it's not going to work. In these cases, more than ever, I see that technical and not technical roles or knowledge, they have no choice but to figure out together. This is like we see that they need to merge somehow. There is the other thing that I would like to add, but we have already mentioned, and it's like training the people. We need to train people. This is all about this literacy. We could start using these resources that we already have, like privacy trainings, and add specific things. But I would like also to say that when we are training people on AI, we need to see that from two different perspectives. One of it is, let's say, how to be more efficient, how to improve business processes, right? How to get the advantage of this AI technology. This is one. But the other side, it is how to use it responsibly, how to use it safely. What are the potential consequences that we might have, as we said, if we start using generative AI tools that are not allowed in our, let's say, part of Europe, so to say, or they have not been approved by your company for any reasons. And there are some reasons behind always. So this is something that we need to bring to employees. This is crucial. And the last thing, but not least, and this is very connected with training people, is about communication. Because this is a big change. We all know, I think we all agree, this is a big change which is happening within our organizations. And it's not going to be enough to set the rules and that's it. This is not working like that. We need to keep people in the loop. We need to explain why, how, why we decided in this way, to make them feel part of this. Because we also, and from our experience in privacy, compliance fields, and so on, we know that if we are not able to communicate properly, this is not working. Yeah, so communication here is essential.
Yeah, and I think, we've always talked about this when it comes to privacy, that privacy professionals fully understand all the requirements, but it's almost like speaking Chinese when you're trying to explain to other departments. And I think this is even more so because it's a whole other layer of tech knowledge that a lot of people can't get their heads around. So I think it's extremely important to understand that when we try to communicate with the rest of the business, we also take that into consideration, that we need to change the language to ensure everyone does actually understand how to be more responsible, but how to also use it to our benefit, but in the right way. It's not about, running away from AI. It's not scary. It's more a case of let's understand how to use it responsibly.
100%. Yeah, that's it. I am just thinking if it was even hard to present, a clear privacy policies to different set of data subjects. And we were able to understand GDPR. Now when we are facing AI with all this wording, fancy words, only known by data engineers, it's like, I mean, we need to do a great exercise here. Yeah, just to bring things simple for and so that, and it comes to principles. I know that principles are somehow very, let's say, not tangible things, but at the end we are coming back always to those principles.
Yeah, but we had a roundtable discussion a few months back with Donovan, and we talked about Donovan Shepherd, and he talked about this the legal design. So it was all about the legal language and how the rest of the business struggles to understand the legal language. So we need to actually, make it more human. And I think this is the same. We're talking about now, it's not legal language, it's technical language, but it's also very complex for most people to understand. So I think, communication, I think of this is key.
Yes, and this will be great example, Laura, because now in this AI governance, we will need all these different roles. Any of them, they have their own expertise field, right? They will be lawyers, they will be operation, business, salesperson, etc., etc. So now it will be the exercise to come into, let's say, more this legal design, making simple, both for the rest of the stakeholders in the organization, but also for external parties, right? So
exactly. And I think not just about the language that's used, but also I think when you've got different experts, let's say, coming from different areas, I think it's important as well, the soft skills, let's say, to ensure that we're all collaborating, that nobody thinks, no, I'm the one who runs the show here because this is my area. in actual fact, this is everybody's area. So it's also about building a collaborative team.
Yes, it will be challenging.
That's for sure. So let's say for anyone out there who's starting out, who's like literally is at the moment where they're not sure where to start. And I think there's a lot of people in that moment where they're almost afraid to take those first steps because they're not clear on what direction they're going to go in. Have you any advice for how to get started, where to kind of put the focus?
Yes, I would say that, my mantra is start by doing. So don't wait until everything is perfect. Don't wait till you have created all this set of policies, templates, adjust everything, and then you are making one round, second round, third round, and it never happens. Yeah. So it's like start if you have already all these updated register of processing activities, just start adding the necessary fields to go through your AI inventory system. Yeah. Right. This is something that, and when you are working on this, then you realize how many fields you will need apart from what you have planned. Right. But this is done by practicing and by experience. It's the same with the SDP AI. You go to the AI and you see these different requirements for the assessment. So just put them as a question. Start with one example that you already know, that this is like well-known processes for you. So it might be very helpful if you know that, I don't know, for the recruitment process in your company, it will start using a solution with AI components. So you already know this process from privacy perspective. Take it like a sample and go through the inventory, go through the assessment, you continue the DPIA, and you continue including these AI-specific risks. Then you could also, let's say, set up an informal AI committee just to open discussions about the topic, how the things are done. I mean, if you have nothing, just start by there. And the same with this example of recruitment. You could get your privacy notices for recruitment, and you could start adjusting regarding transparency, what is the model about, etc., etc. So when you are getting the real thing that you already have, that is known thing for you, then it will be easier to see how to navigate through this AI. And then you come back to, let's say, write your policies of roles and responsibilities and so on. But if in my opinion, if we start with all these tangible things, it is much easier because you will see results. You could see changes during the creation process because it's real.
Okay. So I think the important thing is to get started. Don't sit back and have wondering.
Yes, it is like that. It's small, but start now.
Yeah. And don't be afraid of making mistakes. I think that's the important thing as well. It's like, sometimes we're so afraid to make the wrong decision that we don't make a decision. But in this case, this is continuous evolving space. And the only way we're going to figure it out is by trying different things.
Yeah. And this is how is the learning process, right? Unfortunately, we are learning from mistakes.
Yeah. The best way to learn.
That's it. We will never forget.
No, that's for sure. So we've actually got a couple of comments in the chat, Yolanda. First of all, if it's going to be recorded, yes, this discussion is recorded, so you'll be able to access the link afterwards. Evan, my good buddy Evan Benjamin, how do technical teams and legal teams come up with a common dictionary of AI governance and GDPR compliant? Even a simple term as bias needs a commonly understood definition so the organizations know how to judge AI outputs. So any advice here, Yolanda?
Well, be patient. And it's like, again, we need, of course, and this is something we have internally also, and we need to continue discussions on this because we also need to get for our AI governance framework, we need to have our own definitions. That we are sure that we understand under the same concepts. Yeah. So it's like kind of back and forth meetings, comments, red lines, comments, another meeting, and just to agree on the on the definition that works for all of us, and that we know that we understand the same. But it's, again, try to come to the most simple thing.
Yeah.
And here, those of us that, as me, that we are lawyers, we need to, let's say, get rid of our lawyer hat, forget about all this flourish language, and just try to write just for our kid. Just try to explain for our kid.
Remember, us mere humans need to understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. So thank you very much, Yolanda. I have to say, I really appreciate it. I think it's a very, very interesting conversation, and I've no doubt this is just the beginning. But thank you very much for taking the time for sharing your insights and your experience. I really appreciate it.
Thanks to you, Orla, very much. And thanks for all of you.
Thank you, everybody who joined today. I hope you found this useful. Feel free to reach out to myself or Yolanda if you would like any more information. I'm sure Yolanda will be more than happy to offer advice for anybody who requests it. Be sure to follow on LinkedIn to keep up with our upcoming discussions. As I mentioned, we tend to do kind of monthly conversations, so follow me on LinkedIn to find out more. And if you would like to get involved in the community and actually take part in these discussions, also being a chance to win some incredible prizes coming up soon. Tomorrow you might see a very interesting post on LinkedIn, so keep an eye out. So you find the link in the comments to join. So again, thank you all, and I hope to see you next time.